Welcome to the Veteran Spouse Network podcast, brought to you in collaboration with Coming Home Well. I'm your host, Hannah O'Brien, both a veteran spouse and the program manager for the Veteran Spouse Network. On each episode of our show, I will host different guests to learn more about the stories, unmet needs, and resources available to our military and veteran families. We're the show that's making space for your stories, so that here you know you're never alone. Welcome back to the Veteran Spouse Network podcast. As a mom of two little ones, I see all the research and rhetoric around the importance of reading to your children. It encourages early literacy, language skills, vocabulary development, you name it. Books expose our children to so much they may not otherwise be exposed to, with research showing that reading to children can also help children develop empathy, stronger empathy. I also think about the time I spend reading to my children, the bond we share, the fun we have, the conversations it leads to. And when we think about our military families who are experiencing separations, a lot of the connection can be lost. So that's why I'm so excited to introduce our listeners to United Through Reading, an organization whose mission is to strengthen military and veteran families' literacy, emotional bonds, and well being through the power of reading together at every age, no matter the distance. I'm joined today by Penney Samons, who, in addition to serving as the Director of Special Programs for United Through Reading, is also a military spouse and mom. Penney, I would love to turn it over to you to tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself and the mission of United Through Reading.
Okay, well, one, thanks for having me. Yeah. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Hannah.
Oh,
Okay, so where would you like me to start? Should I start off about me or should I start off about United Through Reading?
let's hear
Which
about you
side?
first. Let's hear about
You
you
want to
first.
hear about you
Yeah.
want to hear about my side of the penny coin?
Yes.
Okay, all right, cool. So I am an active duty spouse. We've got, you've known me for a couple months now, so we've talked about this, but I got about a year left until we switch over from active duty to veteran. And I am excited about the transition, but I'm a little bit scared. So that's one part of it. That's one part of me. We have one son. He is 16. He's the cutest little thing ever, and he has a mustache, Hannah. It's the
Oh, I love
cutest
it.
thing.
Love it.
And he's a great student. He's also a wrestler and he does clubs, so we do a bit of traveling. In fact, when you and I get done today, we're gonna head out to Tallahassee for a tournament this weekend.
Wow.
So super excited about that. I have been a mill spouse for a long time, which means I'm getting old, which is kind of cool because we're the new adults. I don't know if you
Yeah.
knew this. We're the new people in charge. And so it's very interesting because I've gone through all the different stages of being a male spouse. So I remember being like super new to it, a fresh faced spouse. Let me tell you what I did. I joined our FRG right out the gate. Crazy, not crazy nonsense. Nonsense. And it was for a carrier ship. And so it was huge and it was a lot of responsibility. But I was like, oh my God, I'm going to join the FRG and take care of our families. But I had a good time doing that. I have met some amazing people along the way, some friends for life, and it's been through commands we've been at, but it's also been through the work that I've done with like nonprofits and things like that. And just and even doing things like this, like I have a feeling you and I are going to be friends for quite a long time.
Jeez.
Especially as I transition. I'm going to need a resident expert as I transition into my veteran spice era. Oh wait, I said spice. I meant what I said. I
Oh,
meant what I
spice.
said. My veteran spouse era. Um, what else? I'm a cat lady. Everyone
Okay.
knows that about me. There's a bunch of cats here. Let's see. Outside of my work, and then we'll get to the other side of the coin with UTR because I think that's really going to dominate the conversation. But outside of my work, I do take my volunteer work very seriously. So I teach budget for baby classes for the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society. And it's one of my favorite things because it's actually taught me how to budget better as not the head of my household, but as like the mom, as the person in charge of the money in my house for sure. It has taught me. I was able to I do that here at Naval Air Station Pensacola, at Naval Air Station Whiting, and then also virtually for Naval Air Station North Island in California. So That's really cool. I do some consultant work with Comfort Crew for Military Kids. If that they're super cool. I don't know if you ever heard of them. Have you heard of
Yes.
them?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. They give out those great deployment kits, but also reintegration kits and injury and loss and grief kits too. So I've been able to keep up with that, and that's been really cool. And then for the last 5 years, I have been working with Unite Through Reading, which has been ultra cool because it is hyper sonic expanded my network when it comes to um, military families and spouses and just cool opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us a little bit more about United Through Reading, what you do, what they do.
Yeah, okay. So let's start off with what they do because they have to do what they do to pay me to do what I do.
Yeah.
Okay. So United Through Reading has been around for 36 years. Super important. We just turned 36 this year and we look great for our age.
Yeah.
Okay, we look great. So yeah, we've been around for 36 years. We are a nonprofit. I appreciate you mentioning our mission earlier. I'm just going to reiterate it a little bit. So you know, we want to strengthen military families' literacy. Okay, their emotional bonds, and just their overall well being through the shared power of reading. Like, that is our claim to fame. We are convinced that story time is essentially the key to connection for military families. And it's not just because we spend, time apart doing deployments and things like that, because obviously, we started because we were trying to bridge that gap to connection for those deployments. But we want you to be building the strong routine around story time all the time. So it's story time anytime, it's on demand. We want you to be reading whether you are home or recording yourself reading using our free app, whether it's a 1 day training, whether it's um, an 18-month geo badge, whatever it is that's going on. We want you to be thinking about story time all the time because that's really the most important part. We believe that's our thing. So for family connection. So let's talk about well, can we talk a little bit about program delivery, what
Please,
it
let's
looks
do
like?
it. We love it.
Okay. Okay. So program delivery, it looks a couple of different ways. My favorite thing about UTR is it's very much choose your own adventure. I think that's what pulls us all in. We're all really creative minds over here. So we have a free app, which we actually just did a lot of upgrading work on or updating. That's my tech talk. Gotta make sure I do that right. We just did a lot of updating, so it's nice, it's new, it's refreshed, and it's again, it's totally free. You download it to any device, whether it's iPhone, Android, and you literally video record yourself reading books to the special children in your life. It is super simple. Um, and our videos are housed on our server, and it's very important to know we don't watch them. It's a very personal moment for your family, so we don't watch them. There is a login required. It's through id.me, so if you're using id.me anywhere else, you can use it on our app too, and we'll keep all your stories together in a story bank, and they should live on forever, right?
Mm.
It also saves a lot of space on your personal device. So I don't know if you've ran out of room
Always.
on your yeah. Well, you don't have that problem with us because our server, you can put your videos on our server. If you've already done that, and we've ran into people who have already recorded their stories and stuff, you can actually upload them to our server too and save them in your story bank. Especially if you have it like on your phone or computer, or you did it on one of our discs way back when. The kids won't even know what I'm talking about when I say the DVDs and stuff like that. But so that's how people used to do it. So you can upload it there. So that's one way. That's the main way. That's what everybody knows. We are the people who video record service members reading books to the special children of life. That's what everybody knows. The second thing is we distribute tens of thousands of free books and literacy resources to military families all over the world. And when we say all over the world, we mean all over the world.
Wherever they are.
Yes, wherever you are, we will meet you. If USPS can meet you, I can meet you. So I have shipped to North Pole, Alaska. I have shipped all the way to South Korea. I am all over. I can do this. All I need is an APO or an FPO, and I can make it happen. Um, it's also important to know that our books go 0 to 18.
Hmm.
So you can't actually outgrow us. You
Yeah.
can try, you can give it a shot. I challenge you to it, but you can't actually outgrow us. Our books are 0 to 18. Of course, they're always free um, to our military families. And the last thing that I really want to reiterate, and just I really, really want everyone to know, is that our services are available regardless of status.
Mhm.
So if you are a veteran family, an active duty, National Guard, Reserve, they're also available to every branch. So whether you're Navy, Space Force, Coast Guard, every single branch, every single status, because once a military family, always a military family.
I
So yeah,
appreciate you doing the eligibility because I think, exactly like you're saying, this is what people know. And what I think too many people still know or think is like, oh, it's for the deployments and it's for the active duty. So I'm so glad we're telling everybody, all of our veteran families or reserve families, everybody, this is for you too.
yeah, absolutely. It's for everybody. Oh yeah, once a military family, always a military family. That's the
And
rules
reading
around
doesn't
here.
stop being important, and connection
Reading
doesn't stop being
never.
important.
Exactly. Reading never stops being important. I always tell people, always joke around and they say, they'll ask me where I work. And I'm like, oh, I work at a book club. And they're
Mhm.
like, what do you mean? I'm like, I work at a book club.
I said what I said.
Yeah, I said what I said.
No, I love it. I love it. So let's hear more about why y'all came into existence. Like why you said this is our thing. This is what we believe, right? That this literacy, reading with kids is important, helps them develop all these skills, but then also the family connection part. So tell me more about that. Like why is that so important? Like why is this your mission and what is it based in?
Yeah, so let's talk about our origin story a little bit. So our how we started. Our founder, she used to take the big, those big video cameras that your uncle used to have that sat on
Mhm.
their shoulder and stuff. Remember those bad
Yes.
boys? Okay. So she would take books in one of those big video cameras and go on to the in San Diego. We started in San Diego. So we obviously started heavy with the Navy. And then years later we branched out, but we started in San Diego. And so she would hop on the carriers or hop on the ships into, I'm going to use Navy talk here, like the galley, right? So she would hop on there and then she would video record the service members there on an actual VHS tape.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, we will come across someone who remembers that and did a recording on a VH1. This is years ago, 1989.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so that's how it started. And the whole idea was, kids were, well, let's focus on the connection part. So their families were going through deployments and, the service member was coming back and children weren't recognizing the service member. And I can think of at least 10 families in my head, 10 friends I met along the way where that has happened. And it's actually pretty heartbreaking to watch. Like, if you've been gone for 9 months and you like reach for your baby and your baby starts crying, or your toddler starts crying, or even your 4-year-old starts crying because they don't know you. And so that she saw that need and was like, let me bridge that gap of connectivity. So I think that's how it started, right? And then, as we do more research and stuff, we learn that reading to our children on a daily basis, weekly basis, really increases the amount of words, vocabulary words that they hear. Well, first, it's going to build vocabulary, right? But it's also going to increase the amount of words that they hear, and also going to increase the amount of, oh, I lost my train of thought. Increasing the amount of words, spoken words that they hear. That's what I wanted to say before the age of 5. But really, it was about being able to recognize your service member parent.
Mhm.
And um, I, I'm not, I'm not going to mention her name, but so there's a friend of ours who has shared her story via UTR and experiencing things like that, using the recordings on the ships during deployments because they're usually set up in like the chaplain's office and things like that. And she did quite a few recordings. I think she did like 10 or something like that. And so when she got back, her son absolutely recognized her because that was her fear,
Yeah.
being gone. And my 1.5-year-old, I'm going to come back and he's not going to know me as his mom. He's going to think my mom is his mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was her way of talking to him, reading to him, and making sure that he knew that she was his mom. So
That's really powerful. Yeah. And then yeah, the literacy stuff, man, is insane. Like, so I think most of our listeners know I just did a whole series on motherhood, so they probably are bored to death about me talking about my kids. But so I have
never.
a 2.5 year old and a 8 month old today. And the 2.5 year old, man, it's just the language development is so fast at this age.
Yeah,
And to the point where sometimes I'm like, not sometimes, oftentimes I'm like, where where did she hear that word? Like, and I wonder if it's through books and us talking and connecting and things like that, and we just don't realize it because we do make an effort to read to her. And I
it is.
I can't even tell
It's
you.
absolutely through that.
Yeah. But it's really powerful to see them having that language development in action so quickly. And I
It
know
is.
that reading is part of that.
It's super it is because when you read books to children, it forces you to use descriptive language because the words on the page are describing the picture,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it forces you so when you start to use descriptive language, then you're starting to build vocabulary, especially in like with adjectives and things like that, because you're describing
Yeah,
things.
what they're seeing.
The other thing that's really, really cool about that is that when we're reading to kids, especially if we're doing it together, so if you're reading to both the kids together, right? Watch the 8-month-old's vocabulary explode even faster than the two
Yeah.
and a half, because then the 2.5-year-old will start to talk
Mhm.
to the 8-month old, and they'll also pretend to read and just that's the first thing, right? They pick up the
Yeah.
book, pretend to read, and then they're going to start using that same language, those adjectives that they've built with you reading. They're going to start describing the story to the 8-month old, and it's like it's the cutest
Yeah.
thing, but it's the wildest thing to watch.
Yeah.
It is the wildest thing.
It is, it is, it is. And I love too when I was looking at all the different literacy stats and things like that. Also, I think we hear that the word stuff, the vocab, the, language development so often. And then y'all are obviously talking about just literal the family connection. But I loved also reading about like how it exposes them and like increases their empathy because just the variety of stories, like what that opens their minds and eyes to. And the conversations we've had about like reading a book with a kid in a wheelchair in it. Like what
Yes.
is that? And blah blah blah. It's just really powerful.
Yeah, well, we like to lean into that too.
Yeah.
And it's like I did mention her name earlier, but our founder, her name is Betty Mallenbrock, and she's a reading a specialist. And so when we were originally founded, Family Literacy Foundation, and we've since transitioned and things like that, but we love like our books. If you look at them, they are the trying to think of the best way to put this, where it makes the most sense. Our books look and sound like everybody that makes up the military population of families. That
Yeah.
is the best way to put it. It looks and sounds like everyone. So, yes, there are books that appeal for ages 0 to 18. But when you're looking at our curated list of books on our website, the books should feel like a window, but also feel like a door.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we do have books in different languages, but if we think about something special, like you mentioned the wheelchair, so that makes me think about our EFMP families. Those are our extra special families that need extra special care and support. So we have several books on our website that are uh, demonstrative or really show their experience. For example, there's one book. It's called A Boy Named Bat. It is written. It's a chapter book. It's one of those entry level, not entry level, but it's like 2 to 3 level chapter books. So
Yeah.
it's right there on the cusp.
Yeah.
I'm really thinking about like my 10 and 11-year-olds and
Yeah.
things like that. Okay. The whole book is written through the perspective of a boy with autism. So you actually see the world the way he sees it.
Well,
And so we have a lot of different books on our website that, touch on things like that. The other thing that we like to do is on our app, we have spotlight stories, and we frequently put spotlight stories that have an ASL interpretation in it because some of our children are deaf, and
absolutely.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, so we're here for it. So I think it's pretty special
It's
when you
okay.
look at our list.
Yeah. And the list is vast, y'all. I was
It's vast.
is vast.
Oh, Yes. And if you have a suggestion, if you have a book that your kiddos really love, we want to hear about it.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
want to hear about it because the list, it grows. It can just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. But can I tell you another story about something fun about empathy with kids and books and stuff? So I get to go into the field a lot and we do distribute books at events. Like at this one of my favorite things. So we get to go out and distribute books at events. And when you put all the books out on the table, some children will pick up books that look like them. And I'm like, oh, super cool that I have this book available. Thanks UTR funding. Yeah,
Yeah.
or grant funders that I have this book available that looks like you. And most people don't dictate what their kids pick up. Like it might be like an old classic or something that they is immediately triggered from their being a little kid, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, look at this one!" And they're trying to get their kid to get it.
Yeah. I want to read
Um,
this to you.
yeah, because they want to read it because they want to read it. They recognize it. But I would say that's about 20 to 30% of people. 70 to 80% of people just kind of bring their kid over. They look at all the books and they decide which ones they want. So some kids will pick up books that look like them, but other kids will pick up books that look like their friends,
Mhm.
and you will hear them say it. So we had a book called Hair Magic. It was one of my favorite ones because, the little girl on the cover, she looked like me.
Mhm.
Like she had hair like me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm 38, but you look like me. I remember you when I being a little girl. And I had this one little girl come over and she had straight blonde hair, things like that. And she looks at this book and then she looks at me and she's like, this book looks like you. But she's 6 years old. And she's like, but this book looks like my friend at school. This is the book that I want. And I'm like, okay, go ahead.
It is.
Yeah, take it. And so it's just very interesting to see how the kids see themselves in the books, but also see like their loved ones and their friends. It's
Yeah.
really cute. And that's why it's really important to us to have diverse books for everyone to choose from.
Yes. Yeah, that was one of the things I noticed really quickly scanning y'all's list, and I love that. I see that make a difference when, like, again, the conversations that it like leads to. Yeah, I have Reese will be like, "Oh, that looks like Elizabeth," or "Oh, that's,
Yeah.
so and so," and we're like, "Yeah, so cool.
Yes. And that's
Those are
your
your
friend.
friends."
Yeah. And it's one of my favorite things. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, take that one. Um, and of course, like we have, I don't know if you ever seen it, which it'll be back in Texas sometime in March, I think. But have you ever seen our mobile story station?
No.
No, you never seen it? Okay, so we have two. We have two mobile story stations. Eventually, we're going to have three. That's the big plans coming up. But we have two, and it is a tricked out recording studio on wheels. That is the best way to put it.
Nice.
It's the size of an Amazon delivery van. Because again, we got two, like there's two different models, but it's the size of the Amazon delivery van. It like has soundproofing. It has like shelves built in there. It's a big comfy couch in there and lights. It's solar powered. They're very cool vans, and we drive them to different installations and we actually do recordings on demand in the van.
Nice. On the man in the van.
Yes, on demand in the van. I was just thinking about that because the reason why I was thinking about that is because that same little girl that had the van with me and she wanted her dad was with her. And so she wanted him to record that story. And because they were able to do it right then and there, that's why I thought about it. But I always have to pitch the vans. The vans are really cool.
No,
The
that
vans are
is
cool.
cool. I'm gonna track your vans. So
Yeah, track our vans. Yes, we should have some kind of like tracker on our website that tracks our van. Currently, so they're called the mobile story stations. There's Mobile Story Station West and there's Mobile Story Station East. Mobile Story Station West primarily hangs out in Southern California. I've taken it to Las Vegas, over to Nellis Air Force Base and Creech, and then come back. It's been all the way up to like Edwards and stuff too, in Vandenberg and things like that. So it gets around in that Southern California area and just like that area in general. Um, but the East Coast van is easier to move because there's a little more staff spread out over here.
mhm.
So it moves. Like
Yeah.
right now, it's actually sitting outside. It's here at my house because it winters in Florida.
Yes.
It winters in Florida because it's warm enough for it to be here and to be actually in use. So it'll be here until like March, and then I will take it to San Antonio, and then I will ship it to Virginia. We ship it. So if you guys ever find yourself randomly driving on an interstate and you see a giant blue van that says Unite through Reading on the side, it's us shipping it. So please snap a picture of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
van.
there you go. Send it, post it.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mean to get us off. I didn't mean to get us off
No,
topic.
no, no.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Places for people to look out for y'all and
Yeah. When I first got hired was it almost 5 years ago, I was mobile storage station coordinator. So the vans have a special place in my heart, and they're
yeah.
always gonna have a special place.
No, I love that. It's a good way to like get to where you need to be, where can you find people to tell them what you do and get them to record the stories and make the impact. Speaking of impact, I feel like you have shared some, but are there other like great stories or, things that you've seen or heard either from the children's perspective or the parents of just like what this has done for them and their families?
I could talk about that
Yeah.
all day because I enjoy people ask me like, what do I do? I'm like, oh yes, I love this question. So I have gotten some great stories. Okay, so I'll give you one from a big kid perspective because sometimes people forget that there's such thing as
Yeah.
a big military kid. Sometimes
Yeah.
people forget that. Okay. So, earlier we were talking about my kid a little bit and that he wrestles and it's a pretty big team, but we're down here in Pensacola. So, we've got several installations. We have Eglin and Hurlburt and Whiting and all that. So we've got a bunch of bases in Duke all around us. So we have a lot of veteran families that live here, a ton actually. In fact, I would say 50 to 60, I would even venture as far to say 70% of the kids on the team, one or more of their parents served.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of them, which I think that's why they kind of gravitate towards each other. They're all mill kids. They
Yeah.
all know. So, anyway, my kid volunteers me all the time to pick people up for practice and drop them off after practice all the time. And so I never know what random mix of children I'm going to have because I am known as the what am I? I'm the baby delivery. I don't know. I don't know what anyone's called
Yeah.
it.
Big kid delivery.
All I know is that when I go pick him up from practice, I always take our bigger car because I never know how many sweaty kids are getting in there. So the other day, this is like probably like a couple weeks ago because it was definitely in November. It was before Thanksgiving. It was after Halloween. He goes, "Hey, mom. Hey, Haley needs a ride to practice." I don't know who Haley is. I try to learn all the children's name on the team, but I don't know who Haley is. And I'm like, okay, so where does she live? Because we have to think about, we have to be at practice at 5:30. Where does she live? Oh, he's gotten better at this. I've got the addresses right here. I'll navigate for you. So we go over, we pick up Haley. We're talking about something, and I ask her. I think we're talking about like her parents or something because she told me that both of her parents were our veteran Air Force.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, has Gabe ever told you what I do? And so I start telling her what I do. And she's like, wait a second. That's that thing where like your mom or your dad read you a book, right? And then they send you, like, you get to keep the book you in the mail. And I was like, yes, yes, Haley. What do you mean? How do you know this? And she was like, my mom did this for me because both her parents were on deployment at the same time and she was with her grandmother. She was like, my mom did this for me. And I was like, please tell me you still have the book. And she's like, yeah, I still have the book. She's like, but it's on a DVD though. I mean, the story's on a DVD. And I was like, upload it. Tell
Fix
me
it.
about it. I want to hear it. So I hear that. I usually don't hear it from the teenage kid, but I'll hear it from the big kid. So I've heard that perspective before. I've heard where someone has done the recording so long ago that the kid is actually not technically a kid anymore, but like in their 20s.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like in the military themselves, I've heard
Mhm.
that one. Let's see, what else have I heard? My favorite one is when we're super validated and someone tells us about how their kid recognized them on the pier.
Yeah.
My second favorite one is when somebody like shaves their mustache and but all their videos had a mustache
Yeah,
in
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so their kid halfway
Mhm.
recognizes them.
I think that's
Those are really good. But I'm usually more like pulled by the ones with the moms
Mhm.
because a lot of the times when we do the record, like let's say I'm going on somewhere and I'm doing a recording for someone, people don't realize this. I'm going to share it because it's not personal, but we have a lot of criers. Like someone will start to do the recording and we have to stop and start again. Or they might cry a little afterwards, whether it's mom or it's dad, because they are so worried that their little person's not going to recognize them. Um, and I know how hard it is as a mom too to be separated just even for a little while. Like, hey, Bubby's gone for a couple of days. I'm like, oh, Bubby, I miss Bubby, so so I know how that feels. And so it feels super special to do the recordings for the moms. And so when the moms say I came back and they didn't forget me or they came right to me, it always makes me feel really good because I'm like, you're welcome, other mom. I
yeah,
love you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because oh, like you get it, but I just
Yeah.
cannot imagine
You can't
how
imagine, right?
I just would
Like,
burst your heart open if they did.
yeah, or you
And
just
it burst
leave.
your heart open in the good way when they do.
Yeah, in a good way, but you just leave and then you come back and my husband has talked about it before because he did a deployment in he did they were really close together in 19. And so he left and then he came back and then like Gabe had turned 13 this was been 22. This is wrong. I'm aging my child. I'm sorry, which means I'm aging me. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
This had been 22, I think. So he came back and he was like, he turned 13 while I was gone. And I was like, well, yeah, his birthday was while you were gone. And he was like, and he has like earrings. He got his ears pierced while I was gone. I was like, yeah, he asked me, and the pediatrician does it out in California. What do I care? And he was like, yeah, and then he got taller. And I was like, well, what did you think was going to happen? And he was like, well, I knew he was going to get bigger, but like, I missed the switch over to teenager, and that was really bugging him. Um, but he was able to like, obviously talk to him through video and things like that, and use our program and stuff. So it came this way, but he was just kind of sad because he felt like they didn't come back. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there are certain things that just
yeah.
can't.
Well, that's why I'm glad we have the app now. That's why I'm glad
Mhm.
that we have the app because if both sides have the app, it actually can go back and forth. And
Yeah.
again, we don't watch your videos. And so we have older kids who like to read to their parents
Hmm.
or they like to read a book together. So they both have a copy of the book, right? And then the kid will read a chapter and the parent reads a chapter. So we do
Uh,
have. So that's why I'm glad we have the app
yeah,
now.
like you said, choose your own adventure. I feel like
Yeah.
that's one of the most important things I'm hearing is that, and for everyone, like for
Yeah.
everyone, no matter like what you're wanting to get out of it, you can
You
get
can
it.
get out of it, yeah. We had one parent read his kid was gonna be taking the driver's test while I was gone, so he recorded the driver's manual. Hey, it works.
Yeah.
That it's still literacy. He's still reading. He's still
Absolutely.
reading.
And, learning something he needed to learn.
Yeah. We've had I've met some really, really young service members, like I'm talking straight out of A school, like super young. And they have seen books that their mom read to them when they were a kid, and they wanted to read it to their mom. Well, that's fine because you're a service member, but technically that makes you a mill kid too because you're a baby to me. You can read this
Yeah.
book to your mom. Sure.
Oh, I love it.
If you want, sure.
Yeah. 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 If you want to do that. Oh, that's funny. I just love hearing, I do love hearing all the stories because I think that really explains the importance of what y'all are doing, just that it's
Feels good.
people and families at the end of it. I
It
love it.
feels good. It's
Good.
it's it's good stuff, It's wholesome work, and I can't ask for anything more than that. I've spent some time in kind of corporate a little bit and in the service industry and things like that. And I'm like, nah, that's not my place in the sun. This is my place in the sun.
Yeah. I love it. Wholesome work, the feel good work. It makes
And
it
I get
easy
paid.
to get up. And yeah, yeah, you can get
Yeah.
paid.
I can keep the lights on and the water on here, and get paid to do it. Yeah, I got enough. This is excellent.
Feel the same. Well, Penny, I always like to end our sessions with like, we've talked about all the things, but if there was a final piece of advice, wisdom, or just like a last, like, if you got nothing else from listening to this, like, what do you want folks to know, hear, or remember?
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of pressure. Okay. One, please read to your kids. Start in utero and never stop. Um, it, please read to your kids. It's so important. It's such a great, again, emotional well-being, emotional bonding, connectivity. It's such a great thing for that. It's wonderful for building vocabulary. I mean, we have to remember that great readers make great leaders. Any more taglines? Remember that our program is totally free.
Yes.
It is free of charge. I don't know how many times I've had to explain that to people, like it is totally free. And then they don't believe me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, why don't you try it? And then
Yeah.
see if there's like
See if we ask you for a credit card.
yeah, see if there's a cart at the end that asks you for your card number, and then we'll talk about it again. So you can visit our website. We own unitedthroughreading.org, but we also own utr.org.
Okay.
What else? It's free.
It's free. It's free. It's for everyone. It's
It's
free.
free. It's for kids. It's for 0 to 18. And just don't forget that it's for all the statuses. Please don't think because you are a veteran family, because we know the drill. We know what happens. A lot of services are not available to veteran families for funding purposes, right? Or like we know the drill, but we are not one of those programs. We can absolutely afford to take care of your family too. So I'd say yeah.
So use
Most
them.
important.
Use them. The holidays
Yeah.
are coming up. You're going to be with your kids.
Yes.
Like, get the books, people. Get it
Get some books.
and read some
Get some
books.
books. Make some recordings.
Make some recordings.
Especially with those grandparents. Like, let's say we've got some family
Yeah.
members visiting. You
Yeah.
should really be recording all of those.
Yes. Yes. No,
Yep.
such a good idea. Yeah. Capitalize on time together to then extend, having
Yeah.
the bank for you.
Yep. Absolutely.
I love it. No, I'm just thinking we have my mother-in-law's going to come visit, so that would be
Oh,
really
so you have some recordings you need to do. I
yeah.
see. And I will be checking up on
Check
you.
me out. Check it out.
Yuletide recording. I'll be
Yeah.
checking in.
No, she'd actually like be obsessed with that. So, as would our kid. Well, the baby is the baby, but in the future,
Yeah.
toddler will love it. Oh my gosh. Well, Penny, this has been lovely. And I'm grateful for the work that y'all do, and I'm grateful that you came on and we can help tell everybody else about the great work that y'all do. And I really hope people take you up on it and heard everything important we had to say.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to talk to you, Hannah. I
It
always
is
enjoy
lit.
our time.
We have a good time. And everyone listening, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks again for joining us on the Veteran Spouse Network podcast, brought to you in collaboration with Coming Home Well. We thank you for listening today and hope today's session left you feeling a little more connected or gave you some insight into the experiences of our military and veteran families. Don't forget to check us out at veteranspousenetwork.org to learn more about how our military and veteran families can receive the support they deserve.